right, welcome to the V2V podcast, episode number 37.
Well, we're back.
It's been a long time. Hey, everybody.
It's been a few months. It's been a minute. How's everyone doing? How's everyone doing?
Oh, the gang's all here. We're all doing great.
Good.
Here at V2V headquarters.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
But apparently I'm a loser.
You are a loser. You're such a loser.
I found out that I was a loser, so I deleted the whole chat from the person who called me a loser. I just wiped it. I swiped left immediately when I saw that. Well, yeah, because I couldn't take the heat.
Yes. Get out the kitchen. Get out the kitchen.
In fact, I read that message while I was in the kitchen, and I immediately left the kitchen. I was like, which is actually true. That's a true statement.
So we almost have Stoya, but didn't have Stoya today.
Okay, so the deal with that is that today, well, she gave me three dates to choose from, and I picked the early date, and then she said, "Oh, I have a doctor's appointment that day, and I'll let you know." And then she did let me know yesterday and said, "What about noon?" And I said, "Noon sounds great." And then a little while later, she said, "Noon won't work."
Right.
So apparently we're going to reschedule in a week or two. And, yeah, I have a bunch of questions in my head to ask. You know, I'm like, want to figure out what feminist porn is, to revisit that whole idea.
Yeah.
And to ask about, is pornography the rap music of, like, visual media? Like, for instance, so if there's a rap song and the guy's rapping it up, people have a tendency to take the lyrics as being more literal or more real or more relevant to that person's actual existence than if someone was singing a song. Nobody thinks the singing guy means it. Right. So if you have a movie and there's sex in the movie, simulated or real or whatever, no one really believes that those characters are really those people. They know they're actors. They know that it's pretend. But if you look at sex films, people are like, "Oh, well, that's real. The real thing. That's how those people really are." So that was something I wanted to ask. You know, is that?
I mean, I kind of liken it to gladiators of this day. They're more modern era gladiators at this point as well, in many ways. Porn stars.
Right, it's very technical. The whole production, it's uncomfortable. It's a lot of takes, a lot of stopping and starting, and you know, like production porn it's a great illusion. You know, there's so much that's cut out and you don't see, and it's all very put together and produced.
Right.
Because I read an article from her regarding people being misled into using porn as educational. Like,
Right.
and her take on that is don't. It's not educational. It's all very, very produced and put together, and you can't duplicate that in real life. Like, it just won't work.
Right.
So that was interesting too, because do the producers of this stuff bear any sort of responsibility? I'm not saying yes or no to that, but because then you look at like a Fast and the Furious movie, and you're not encouraging people to drive recklessly and fast, when you're making that movie. It goes back to the thing with the rap music again. Like, why are people putting so much emphasis on the reality of it when it's all fake? Like, all of it. It's all pretend. Right. So is it because it's sex? Is it because it's like, that's really happening, sort of? I don't know.
Well, because visually you're seeing something so graphic and so not seen that it seems real,
But it's like the most seen thing, though. Like, it's, you see like a murder movie or whatever, like serial killer, or like horror movie, and like, that's the thing that's unseen. Like, you don't go around seeing like brutal, gory murders all the time.
It's true.
It is true, but sex is like a thing, that's like exists.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're a poor substitute for a smart, cute, literate porn star. But
how dare you?
Hey,
listen
why
to
do you
me.
say these things?
Listen to me. Why do you say these things to hurt me? I am just trying to perform on the camera and stretch the gape hole. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So, I've been kind of watching a lot of Barrett Brown lately, and Barrett Brown's been doing some interesting things.
Yeah? He burned his certificate? What's going on?
He did indeed. He did.
He had some kind of certificate or some award. He got an award.
He did get an award. He got a National Journalism Award for writing for The Intercept when he was in prison. And he burned it. And
that'll show him.
Well, he's kind of on this crusade at the moment to expose journalists and editors who are hopelessly inept and doing damage rather than doing good.
I think that's a really good thing.
I think it's an amazingly important thing. So this is why he said this was necessary. Number one, leaked internal emails and Laura Poitras's account of Intercept's move to close down the Snowden archive without telling Snowden, with bonus material and why the editors aren't qualified to assess if it's still worth going through. Number two, that time Sam F. Biddle was tricked into running a demonstrably false propaganda narrative from an admitted FBI informant who was secretly working for H.B. Gary to get me in prison. Congrats. And who spied on the teenage daughter of my old girlfriend? Number three, that time the same people who closed the Intercept Snowden archive last month told I was wrong about H.B. Gary meeting with Apple and Google without having seen the emails in question. Number four, the Time premier Intercept editor John Cook let Adrian Chen write his 6th article on me while I was imprisoned under gag order, claiming I'd somehow made up Mexican kidnapping, which he'd already admitted not to really believe on tape. Number five, that time John Cook shut down Empty Wheel, who's another journalist, when she was reporting on section of 702 because it sounded like a good idea even if it were questionably legal. Later, when it was reported elsewhere, Intercept asked her for her help in understanding it. Number 6, that time when John Cook, as editor of the Intercept, when it was covering my census, kept quiet about the highly relevant information that his writing partner Adrian Chen had tried to buy stolen emails from the same FBI informant involved in my case. Number 7, that ongoing time extending into now, where numerous reporters and editors who are aware of this incident have continued to keep their mouths shut despite massive relevance to DOJ prosecution of Chelsea Manning and Assange and whoever comes next. So basically, to take this back a bit and kind of explain and unravel it, Barrett Brown was a part of Anonymous, or whatever Anonymous was back in the day, which was sort of a series of online relationships that involved different people who had different sort of skill sets and were able to bring different things to the table for achieving goals in sort of helping and activism. And at that time, Anonymous was kind of active in Tunisia and Egypt and their revolutions and setting off their revolutions and helping the people on the ground and fighting the government. One of the things that happened was in 2011, at Christmas of 2011, Stratfor, which was a private intelligence firm, was hacked. And within that hack were these emails that Barrett Brown was prosecuted later for posting a link of. But inside of these emails was sort of these conversations between different private intelligence firms about tools they were developing and things that were going on. And one of the private intelligence firms was called Palantir. And Palantir was recently brought up in the whole Cambridge Analytica thing. And Cambridge Analytica was highly involved in the Brexit sort of vote. So they kind of were a part of dismantling democracy in the UK. And Palantir was who provided Cambridge Analytica with the scraped sort of Facebook profiles of people who would be pro-Brexit, so that they could target them and get them to vote and get them out to vote. Right. And so when we sort of unraveled this, Barrett Brown tried to get a number of high-level journalists to expose Palantir and the things that were going on within Palantir and sort of these other private intelligence firms during 2011 when he was being prosecuted and eventually jailed or imprisoned. And so he kind of reached out to a number of people while in prison who gave him sort of like thumbs up and said they would do something about it. One of those people was definitely Glenn Greenwald, who is the guy responsible for writing all the articles on Snowden. Right. And sort of responsible for leaking what we have of the Snowden leak, which is very little, by the way. This was kind of utmost importance for all of us and the general public to know. And Barrett's attempts to get even, the New York Times to cover this have gone sort of without any response from the New York Times or anyone at all. They're just not interested in it. And, for whatever reason. But really, it was probably the most important story that could have been covered at the time because it would have helped with what happened with our election. Because clearly,
you're right. It's still very important. Yeah.
Because clearly, our election was tampered with by the same people, which means there is an internal war going on, or someone is hiring private intelligence firms in this country to play a part in dismantling our democracy and our ability to be democratic in elections.
Right. So these well-funded private firms, you have to wonder who's funding them. That's an important part. Like, what agenda is the money coming from? So Russia stuff, right? All of that, is so much less important than what's going on internally with these private, what I don't even know what to call them. Like,
well, basically, like, essentially, if you think about it, they have the same power as the CIA. They have the same ability as the CIA. And they have a hold of these tools like Romas coin and, oh gosh, I can't remember the other one that Barrett exposed during that hack, but there were two sort of tools. And they were both, Romas coin was interesting because Romas coin seemed to be working with, like, gaming, apps like Zynga Poker, and they were trying to gather information by scraping information from users of those apps to gather information on people to use in whatever way. The other one was persona management, which is fucking terrifying. And it's basically where one person can set up a sort of AI to create multiple fake accounts on social media. Right. And those accounts have the ability to tweet for years or, post for years, using sort of the same cadence and the same sort of mannerisms that they used from the very start. So it's almost indiscernible. Right. So you wouldn't know if you were talking to someone who was real or not, and you wouldn't. And this,
you're right. I get it.
This was definitely. Go ahead.
I'm constantly joking. Like, as a side note, I'm constantly joking with a friend of mine about his online dating endeavors, and anytime a new woman pops up, my line is, "Oh, it's a bot."
Yeah.
And he's like, "It's not a bot. I'm having a conversation." And that kind of goes to the heart of what you're saying. Like, you can have conversations with this AI, and they will respond in a characteristic manner that seems real, and because they will also in real time scrape you, and and will be able to shoot back relevant information about yourself that you will in turn respond to, so they can constantly gather, more information. It seem more and more real.
That's like only a part of what it's doing.
Right.
But I mean, it's
on a very superficial, seemingly inconsequential level. Even the most innocuous, like Tinder or Bumble profile, may very well be not a human being.
Correct.
So when you have all this power with funding and trained professionals and computer programmers who really know what they're doing, I can easily see how these fake personas could live on for years and years and years and seem as real as anybody. Absolutely.
Right. So anyway, going on, Barrett then began this week to expose emails that he got from Laura Poitras, who was a massive part of the Snowden expose, and was the documentary maker of the Snowden documentary, when she went to go meet him in Russia with Glenn.
Right.
He exposed emails that basically said that they were shutting down their research area for the Snowden files. So basically all of that is just going away. So none of us will ever see any of that.
Right, and the cover story for that was that Greenwald got spooked, and so he had to shut it down because he was concerned that he would be in danger of being imprisoned himself. I remember that pretty clearly. Like, that was the cover story.
Yeah,
from him.
So I mean, like, this again though brings up like what we need for whistleblowers platform-wise. And there is a service called DDoS, which is on Tor, and it's Distributed Denial of Secrets.
Interesting. I like that.
It's a site that is run by 20, some of them anonymous members, who who have like a whole bunch of files up already on that site. You know, from different leaks already, like thousands and thousands of them, huge troves. So it's already functioning and it's on Tor, and that's going to sort of step into gear more and more as well, because John Karaoke and some other people who were whistleblowers and workers in sort of this area doing good things are becoming board members of that.
Okay.
So that's going to become more of a mainstream thing as well for at least leakers to leak to safely and not be imprisoned. Because one of the things that Barrett Brown read on his message last night when he burned that award was he read something from John Karaoke, or whatever his name is, who was the NSA first NSA leaker whistleblower. He read a statement saying that the editor at The Intercept is probably one of the most incompetent editors ever, and that no leaker should ever trust him. And if you wanted to ask anyone about it, you should ask Reality Winner and a couple of other people, including himself. So clearly this editor has done a bad job, such a bad job, that he's exposed the leakers. You know, and that's why Reality Winner's in prison. And that's, you know, that's the reality of it, is that we had a fucking horrible platform to leak to that people thought was safe because of Glenn's work with Snowden. You know?
Yeah.
I mean,
well, I'll definitely post the link to that site and the Tor link, so people who are unaware of what that is can use that browser to access the site you're referring to, for sure. I'll put it in the notes.
Sweet. I mean, what Barrett is essentially doing is lighting the fire right now, you know, and he's really pushing, and I knew he was going to do this, and I knew this was coming at some point, because he is that kind of person. He's that kind of individual. And exposing incompetence within the press is absolutely paramount at this point, particularly within the press, you know, within the editors who are really doing a demonstrable job to, you know, writers and journalists themselves, let alone leakers, you know.
Right. It makes you wonder how many, you know, honest, hardworking, investigative journalists are feeling completely trapped in their positions when they submit important work to editors who bury it or change things or just, you know, completely or change the perspective or investigate the investigator. all of that nonsense that goes on.
Or end up printing propaganda, which is completely false and,
right.
Fucks so many people up, in so many ways and makes people think a certain way about something. It's just so irresponsible.
You mentioned Maggie Wheeler earlier. That's one of the reasons I appreciate her work, because she's independent and knows a lot that she has a hard time disclosing too. She knows a lot more than she's willing to state about a lot of things. Unfortunately, and she said as much herself that if she exposed everything that she's aware of, she'd be in prison. And that's just awful.
Yeah,
that shouldn't be the situation we're in, but it really is. And so I'm more than happy to provide any help.
I think her name is Marcy Wheeler, but I'm
Marcy
not sure.
Wheeler. That's right. That's right. Yeah, that's right. I was thinking of I was confusing her with the New York Times hack Maggie Haberman, who is quite the opposite.
Yeah,
she's one of the bad guys.
Yeah,
Barrett, just awful.
Barrett has also mentioned a few other things in passing as well. One of them being something called the Process Congress. And I'm uncertain of what this is because it doesn't actually exist yet, but it's being formed. It's being formed by some good people like John Kiriakou and some other people.
Okay.
There's some stuff coming that's going to be quite interesting in the next few years. It's going to be quite a hammer in the state's affairs and sort of state-run propaganda through journalism's affairs, or just simply, fucking lackadaisical journalism and lackadaisical editing.
Right. So now I understand better your position of why you've held this position for a while. Like, voting doesn't matter. Right? Yeah. Like, it's not important. But I think you're hitting on something that is important, which is subverting the system with the truth, regardless of whether you think it's making an impact. Because
not just that.
You have to chip. I mean, you really have to chip away at this stuff because it's dangerous. There are bombs hidden in the concrete, that you're hacking away at. That could
the idea is to build a sort of scaffolding around this completely disheveled, falling apart structure that we have.
Right.
And start to build. And build in the areas that we can. Even though we probably can't fix the entire building, we've got to start building around it and fixing it, and like repairing. Because clearly this is our structure. This is what we have to work with. So we've got to sort of fix it. We've got to heal.
We have our own little Notre Dame.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Exactly. Just talk about insurance scam, huh?
Holy fuck, right?
Because check it right. Like, let me divert for a second. Because, okay, so, wow, they're doing renovation. They're doing a $6 to $7 million renovation. Oh no, the whole structure is caught on fire. Oh good, we have a $500 million to rebuild now. What?
Right.
What is that? Yeah, so, wow. It's, I've stayed almost entirely away from the, political press, anything like that for, actually since the Mueller report was released, I've tuned out completely. On purpose.
Wah, wah, wah.
Yeah, because it's just, it was, enough was enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How's it
Wow.
all going, man? How's it all going? Like, what's it like working at a homeless shelter? You know?
Oh, okay. It's really rewarding, actually.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
You know, these people, I'm at two different spots. The one is for 18 to 24-year-olds.
Yeah.
Who have basically come off the street. They can stay until they turn 25. They age out at 25. And the idea is that within the time they're there in this bridge housing, they can put their lives back together, get jobs, get cars, get lives.
Right.
And I met a lot of these young people are like really interesting, smart. It's kind of a secret. Like, it's not really a known thing. Like, that this stuff is really available and it's much better than anyone might think. The other place I work at is for families, and the other location houses 10 families in kind of like individual like suites with their own restrooms and in this big house, and they too are allowed to stay there for an extended amount of time to kind of rebuild their lives. And that's also kind of a big kind of secret. Like, you kind of have to be invited or told about this place before you can, even know about it at all. Like, it's not, there's no advertising or anything.
Oh, wow.
So, it's really cool, to see people who, once were, super down and out and had no prospects, finally being able to rebuild their lives. And it's all through, charitable funding. No insurance, it's not, insurance based or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's mainly, church funded, but it's not religious, so that's really great. No one's imposing any kind of agenda, and
right on.
I don't know, it's pretty cool. And I'm super glad that I'm not working in drug treatment anymore, because I don't have to give drugs to drug addicts. I don't have to
right.
dope them up to get them off of whatever they were on before and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it's pretty sweet. I find that I'm always at work.
That's
I'm like
so
always on the
awesome.
clock, which is also kind of awesome too.
That's so cool. That's so cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's easy money.
Yeah. That's so sweet.
Yeah. No, I am just kind of amazed that it's happened, because when I left rehab, I was ready to just find any old lousy job.
Yeah.
That would, pay the bills, and a mentor said, "No, don't do that." Like, he actually said, "Why don't you work with homeless people?" And I thought, "Oh, I don't know what that looks like, but okay." And then, like, within the next week, that happened, just because. Like, it was the strangest thing. Yeah.
Wow.
The old lemon tree. I think I'm going to thank the old lemon tree for that one.
I do miss my lemon tree. How's it doing?
Oh, better than ever.
Good.
Yeah. Lemon tree's kicking butt.
Good.
Dropping lemons.
Oh.
Yeah. Lemon tree's cool. The garden's good. Yeah. I got a call from another house, and, people are calling me for help, which is weird too. I'm into it, but whoa, what's going on?
Yeah, but you do a good job though, man. You run a good house,
apparently I run a good house.
Yeah.
And now other people are like saying, "Hey, help me too." And then, like, how do I do that? I don't. I'm go back to my philosophy of I don't know what I'm doing.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really effective.
The old philosophy.
Yes.
Well, so, what else has been happening in my world?
Yeah, what's happening in your world? You have a new puppy, or a relatively new puppy?
We do have a new puppy. She's like 3 months old almost now, and well, she's like 10 weeks, 11 weeks now.
Yeah.
She's lovely, but she's a lot of work. We're not getting a lot of sleep, and we're kind of taking shifts and stuff. But we figured out a new thing. It works out. And that's me and my mom, by the way, in case anyone's wondering. I'm single. I am available to sugar mama to come along and take me up.
Is that her name, Lula?
Yes, her name is Lula. Lula Fortune, named after Wild at Heart.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. She's wild at heart.
Mm-hmm. Very wild at heart. And it fits her well. And then I've kind of stopped going to meetings now. I was going to meetings here, but I've kind of stopped, and I figured that I'm kind of okay right now.
Well, you want to know a secret?
Yeah.
I thought you were okay to begin with.
Yeah, I was, but I did need a place to stay in Marcus, and I had no money, and I was starving. So, and I had no way to get money. So I came there, and I stayed, and I went along with it anyway. But, it is.
Well, no, that's how you find out stuff. You experience things, and you learn about yourself through these experiences, and you find stuff out. And these are things that only, there are things that only we as individuals can know about ourselves.
Yeah.
And no one can tell you how you are, in a lot of ways. These are things, there are many things, personally, that we have to discover for ourselves. And that you maybe would never have, or never have known, or you would have had to learn differently, so I'm glad that you had that experience, because I think it was healthy.
I don't, being sober for 30 days was a great experience for me, and learning to be sober. And no doubt I experienced withdrawals the first few days. No doubt. I was, and I definitely, even by day 30, I was still sweating, profusely and having horrible anxiety. So I definitely know that I use marijuana for an anxiety-based disorder. That's definitely what I'm using it to calm, because I don't sweat the same way that I did there,
Right. Well, as long as you don't get chronic or cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome. Let's see if we get this right. Cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome, where you're smoking weed and enjoying it and got that high potency, and you're smoking a lot, you're smoking pretty heavy, and everything's cool, and then one day you light up and you start puking constantly, and your stomach hurts, and you have anxiety, and the only way to cure that is to stop smoking, because what it looks like is that people stop, those symptoms go away, but then as soon as they start smoking again, it's instantly back. They're just puking and stomach hurting. Some of the research, they're not sure what's going on, but apparently the CB1 and CB2 receptors are getting all clogged up and overloaded. It's got that amp in it.
They're getting resonated.
Yeah, internally resonated. So the marijuana, the cannabinoids, seem to have nowhere to go, and and they just build up, and then people get sick. And it's unfortunate. Right. It's rare, but apparently some people are susceptible to this.
Yeah.
Just like anything else, you know, like some people aren't cut out to be weed smokers or drinkers or whatever, you know.
That's for sure. Yeah.
It's just the way it is, because we all have, you know, different body chemistry and things.
Our own individual organisms running in their own time clock. Yeah.
Right. I don't like beets, for instance, you know. I'm not going to, like, it's just one of those things, right?
Right.
Don't give me beets. I'll throw up all over you.
Oh, they're so good, though. They're so good.
I don't like them. Right. They're too sweet, or something's weird about them. They taste like sweet dirt.
I love them.
They taste like sweet dirt to me.
They're so good, though. Beets are delicious.
I'm growing them, but I'm not, you know, and maybe I'll eat beets like a gentleman now. We'll see. Yeah, things are cool.
Good. I'm glad, man. We should do this more often.
Yes, and I think we should, and I think that I like the idea of you prompting it. I think that's great. That's what I've been waiting for, actually. That's actually what I've been waiting for.
Good.
I remember I told her, I said, when you have something to say, let me know.
Yeah.
and you're like, well, whatever. Loser. All right. Cool.
All right.
Send me those links.
What link do you want?
Send me the link. Send me all the relevant Barrett Brown links. And,
okay.
I will put them in the notes.
Okay.
And so we can play our little part in continuing to fight against the corrupt media establishment.
I would assume that you could get an interview with Barrett Brown at this point. Because
maybe after Stoya.
Because he only has been doing interviews with very small sort of like podcast types.
I think you should pursue that. Maybe you could make it a pursuance project. What did I just say that? What?
We do have a little drama with it all due to Marty and everything, but we'll see.
Okay. Well, only because you're much more well versed in his history and you're more well read of his material.
Yeah.
And that's all, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I think it'd be worthwhile to pursue, and then when he denies you, I'll call you a loser. How's that? How about that, Apple?
Deal, Mr. Marquez.
That's a deal. All right. So that was cool. That was episode 37. We are approaching our 1 year anniversary, by the way.
We are approaching our 1 year anniversary.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
I think it's next week. Maybe we'll do something special for that.
All right, cool. We'll do that.
All right.
All right, man.
Sounds good.
Okay. Bye, bud.
Talk to you soon. Bye.